Hey guys, it's Emily Weisband, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Congratulations with your new single.
Thank you.
This is another taste of what fans can expect in November once you drop your EP. But let's jump in and talk about Out of This Car, because your storytelling, your way of writing these lyrics it brings me in. It makes me feel like I'm there with you. So talk to me about like that creative process for you and writing this specific track.
Yes. Well, thank you for saying that. That's definitely what I aimed for. I wanted to, from the first note of the song, for people to be in that moment with me and be kind of sucked into that moment. So I appreciate you validating that for me. But this song was quite wild to write, honestly. I got majorly dumped on January 1st. So I always make the joke, but like everybody's like, oh, 2020 sucks. I'm like, y'all at least had 2 months of bliss. I had 2 months of bathroom floor crying. So y'all can just shut up. But I was just so confused. I had just decided to open up. We had dated about 4 months, and about month 3 was kind of my moment of, if I don't actually be vulnerable and kind of let my walls down, I'm never going to know what this could be or if this is anything. And so it's not something I do often. And I just kind of made the decision to jump off the cliff a little bit. And a month later, there I am in a car being told that this person wasn't sure about me. And oh God, it just sucked. I really genuinely felt like the wind was knocked out of me just because I had just made that decision to open up. And I guess in other breakups, I would, either fight or, a week later get drunk and like text them and try to open the door back up to kind of maybe win them back or put myself in their brain. And I don't know, call it growing up, call it just loving myself more than maybe my past relationships. I kind of just made this decision to let somebody not being sure about me be enough of an answer for me as far as, is this something I should fight for?
Right.
And so, yeah, I just let him go. I kept calm. I didn't cry till I got inside, and I just let him go and made sure that he knew that this was his decision and not mine. And I left for LA on a flight 3 days later. And I honestly I was numb in a lot of ways because it was very, very painful for me. And so, which was a sign of growth, really. I obviously had allowed my heart to kind of go places it doesn't normally go. And that's why it was so painful, I think. And so anyway, I was having a really hard time writing about it. This entire week in LA, I brought my friend Laura Veltz, who I wrote some of my last projects with. And I don't know, I was just kind of talking to them. I was kind of in anger mode. I was in cold mode. I was in just autopilot. I want to get over this as fast as possible kind of mode. And so we started writing another song, and I was just telling them about the breakup. And I kind of said to him, like, is there anything else you have left to say? Because when I get out of this car, like, that's done. And when I said that, as I was explaining it to them, we all kind of looked at each other like, wow, that's really sick. And so we wrote this song, and I felt so empowered writing it. Honestly, it kind of was what I'd always wanted to do and always wanted to say in every breakup, and just never loved myself enough to do it. And so the fact that I could put that into a song and at the same time live it out while still being vulnerable and acknowledging the fact that I was hurt by it. I think that's what makes the song so empowering for me, is that I'm acknowledging that I'm hurt, but I'm also making a decision right now. And that's kind of where it came out of. It was it came out of a conversation. So yeah.
That's crazy. Like, I mean, props to you for being able to open up like that, just because like knowing that there's people listening to this. But the thing that really caught my attention was not just the lyrics, but it's just like the way that we feel it through your voice. And it's like, like I feel your pain when you're kind of singing this.
Thank
And I
you.
can't imagine what that was like actually recording those vocals, because I feel like there might have been so many breaks where you kind of had to, you know, stop and kind of break down a little bit. What is that like for you?
The vocal on the track is actually the demo vocal. So that's the
Wow.
vocal I recorded the day we wrote it, 3 or 4 days after the breakup. So I definitely was in the moment, and I didn't sing it many times. I sang it maybe once or twice through. And so yeah, it's about as real as it gets. We didn't spend a ton of time on the vocal. I just wanted it to sound like the conversation that the lyric was. Um, and yeah, it was hard. I also feel this adrenaline and this euphoria from putting something I've been through into my music, and all the possibility and the hope and the potential and the empowerment that I get out of that really helps me in those moments to get into the moment and trust that months or years down the road, when people hear this moment I'm getting into, they'll want to get into it too. So I didn't really have to stop. I didn't really break down as much as somebody might think. It's a very empowering process for me. But I definitely cried listening to it after. And I actually showed the song to we're back together now, this guy that the song's about. And so now it's kind of all fun and games, but his sister had left her jacket at my house the day before we broke up. And so she stopped by the house, and I played her the song. And the first line is, "This is why I didn't want to meet your sister." And she immediately started crying. And she's like, "I knew you didn't want to meet me." And I was like, so it's every line of the song is very true and very real. And she's still to this day like, "Is my song coming out? My song's coming out, right?" She calls it her song. So.
I think that line just made her think it's like automatically hers. Doesn't even
Yeah,
like acknowledge that there's a breakup going on.
Yes.
Well,
So
I'm glad there's a happy ending to it.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a rainbow and butterflies ending, but it's a growth ending for sure. It's a real ending.
So like now that you're, you know, this is another taste of your upcoming EP for November, like I mentioned earlier, like now that you're pursuing, you know, your own music, how different or how difficult was that kind of transition from being the songwriter for other artists to now songwriting for yourself?
Yeah. It's not difficult creatively,
Mm.
and it's not difficult. Really, I'm going to be really transparent with you. It's really difficult for my ego, honestly, because I started building this momentum as a songwriter. When I moved to Nashville, I decided we put it in legal writing in my publishing deal that I was never going to be an artist. All the artist language that was in my publishing deal, we took out, because when I moved to Nashville, I wanted to brand myself as a writer who was in service of other artists. In my brain, that was the best way for me to get into rooms with bigger artists sooner. Because when I went into a room with Lady Antebellum or Lady A now and Keith Urban and Thomas Rhett or Sam Hunt, like they never had to wonder who we were writing for. I was there for them. And I started out in country music, so that's why I use those artists as examples. But so yeah, I really started building this momentum as a songwriter, and I saw this dream of writing songs for other artists like coming more and more true every year. And I was getting into bigger rooms and doing bigger things. And then I feel really led down this other path of putting out my own music. And I think I had put a lot of pressure on myself to continue the momentum I was building in my writing career and my artist career, not realizing that they were two completely different paths, And so I went from this like little fish to a bigger, healthier fish, growing fish in this songwriting pond. And then I found myself a little fish again. And honestly, it was most difficult on my ego, just having to let go of the pressure I was putting on myself to be impressive and to really just embrace my point of view and building a fan base brick by brick, person by person, and celebrating small victories instead of always like having this hunger for bigger, unattainable right away, like not immediate gratification ones. And so really it's been more so than a creative journey. It's always been easy for me to tell my story, and it's always been easy for me to be a tell-all queen, honestly, too much. My mom says she has to listen to every song I write twice, once to get the cringe factor of being my mom out of the way, and the second time to really digest my message. So that's always been really easy for me. And it was very freeing for me to go into artist land with this, you know, new permission, I guess, to do that in whatever way I wanted. But ego wise, it was a little harder, and I've learned more contentment and peace in the last year than I think I would have learned had I just stayed in songwriting. So I'm grateful for this journey in more than one way, for sure.
Do you feel like it's been challenging kind of being able to differentiate whenever you're writing for yourself or whenever you're kind of writing something to pitch out?
Challenging? No. My songs are typically, it's pretty obvious to me and everyone around me when a song is mine. I will say, I think there's a lot of honesty in music. I think honesty is very trendy in music right now. And I don't know that there's as much truth in music. I think they're two different things. And I'm one of 6 kids. I have 4 sisters and a brother. And 3 of my sisters are close to my age, and they live in Nashville too. And they're my A&R team, man. I'll play them every one of the songs. And I know a song is mine or represents what I want to do as an artist when they say, wow, this is my, like, I can put myself in this song. And there have been a lot of times I've brought home a song and been like, y'all, what do you think of this? And I'm like, man, this is so raw. This is so honest. Like, they're going to love it. And I'll play it for them and they'll be like, yeah, it's honest. Cool. Like, how does it apply to me though? Like, this is honest for you on your own little Emily Weisband honesty world. But like, I don't feel like it's my song. And that's what I want to do with my music, is to normalize feeling. You know, people say like normalize this. It's like the thing of 2020. I want to normalize emotions. Like, girls aren't crazy. Guys aren't F-boys. Like, we're all just like sad, broken people who all want the same thing, to be loved and known and all that stuff. And so that's really when I know a song is mine, is when I play it for my sisters and my friends, and no matter what their reaction is, I'm standing a little taller as I'm playing it for them, and they walk away from it going, wow, I feel very seen. And that's kind of been my driving force in what I do, and how I know I should run with something, you know?
Yeah. And saying that, like, with this upcoming EP, like, how do you feel the process has been like for you, as far as like writing the tracks and, I don't know, maybe even recording them also? Like, do you feel like it's been a smooth ride for you, or do you feel like there's been a lot of ups and downs throughout the way?
I mean, there's always ups and downs with anybody who's a dreamer, and, you know, having a dream is a really heartbreaking thing, because it's, you know, it's beautiful and it's worthwhile, and it's just in your bones. You can't not do it. You know, what else would I go do? Like, this is what I love. It's in my bones to do this. But, you know, the music industry, you hear no a lot, and you do pour your heart into 4 or 5 hours of something, and somebody says, cool. And you're like, cool. I spent 4 or 5 hours pouring my heart and soul into this, and all you have to say is cool. And so there's definitely an aspect of that. But honestly, for the most part, I'm so, so grateful. I know not everybody would say this, and I'm sure some people would say this. I'm so grateful for, because I went on Zoom and I wrote for 2 hours a day. And then what do I do the other 22 hours of the day? Ever since I moved to Nashville, my life was about building my reputation. You know, how can I legitimize myself? And not in a ladder climber way, just in you move to a city with a dream and you want that dream to come true. And so this year was, okay, I did music for 2 hours. What I do the other 22 hours of the day. And it was this really beautiful shift in me from music is who I am. Yeah, music is who I am to music is what I do. And it really helped me kind of loosen that 10-finger grip on the project I was writing and the project I was making, because I didn't have as much pressure that I was putting on myself to be a certain thing. I could kind of just say what I wanted to say and not be so precious with every little thing about it, and kind of just trust that if it came out of my heart, it's me enough to put out there and I can stand by it. So it's honestly been a really freeing, beautiful, easy process. It's been enjoyable for me. I'm having fun making music, you know what I mean? And it's very easy to get jaded and just like whatever. And I don't know, I'm having fun again doing what I love. And that's why I'm so excited about this new music and everything I have coming, because I'm just approaching it with this new freer perspective of I have nothing left to lose, you know?
Yeah. I love that. And like, you know, for fans when listening to this EP, like, do you take them into a world? Do you like, I mean, what can they expect when they listen to it?
Yeah. So, the EP is called Not Afraid to Say Goodbye. And I was listening to, we're going to do a few projects. So these 4 songs come out November 13th, but then we have 4 more songs and 4 more songs after that. I'm a writer. I have songs for days. But I wanted to group these songs into small concepts that people could kind of grab onto and kind of just say, hey, this room is labeled this, and go into that room and hang out in there and search yourself in that room. And I just wanted to be able to provide that for people. And for me this year, I really learned the power of letting go. And I just reflected on how many years of my life I've spent holding on to things that were terrible for me out of fear. That something better wasn't going to come along, or maybe I had this deep belief inside of me that I wasn't worthy or deserving of something better than what I had. And I'm just learning that it's a beautiful thing to draw boundaries. It's a beautiful thing to say no. It's a beautiful thing to let go of things that just aren't good for you. And it's not that you're dissing those things. It's just that you know who you are, you know what gives you life, and you're drawing boundaries around yourself to say, yeah, that's not for me. And that's okay. You can't control everybody else, but you can control you, and I can control me. And so I really wanted this EP to, when I listened to the songs on the EP, that's what it represented to me. Dumber was about, hey, this kind of sounds too familiar. I really don't mind letting go of you, because I know that that's not for me. And if that's what you represent, that's fine, but you got to go be that with somebody else, because I can't do that anymore. And Out of This Car is, you're literally telling me you're not sure of me, and I'm going to make the decision to be okay with that and say goodbye. And I'm not going to sit around and ask why all day. I'm going to ask, okay, well, what now? You know? And then there's a song on the EP called You're Cool. That's like, you're cool, but you're still a stranger. It's like, you're cool. I like hanging out with you. I don't know yet. I don't owe you anything. I don't know yet. You know what I mean? And then my favorite song on the EP is a song called The Way I Say Goodbye. And The Way I Say Goodbye is a song I wrote 3 months after I wrote Get Out of This Car. And they're 2 songs about the same moment in time. So The Way I Say Goodbye is kind of like a parallel universe version of When I Get Out of This Car. And it's just a more processed, wise version of that song. And it's kind of my surrender song. It's like, I've done everything I can. There's nothing left that I can control here. And if you couldn't feel my love in the way I held on to you, then I hope you feel it in the way that I let you go. And so, yeah, the whole EP is just about not being afraid to say goodbye to things. And it's something I'm trying out and loving and growing from. And I want to, help. Music's so powerful, and I want to help lead other people into feeling the freedom and empowerment to do the same thing. So it's kind of where I'm coming from.
I can't wait. Project. I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait for, fans to hear it.
I'm excited. I hope you like it. I like it. So
I can't imagine, like, just because, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's like you took me in. Like, it wasn't like I was trying to figure out what I was listening to. It's like you brought me into your space, and like I was there in the moment. So
I appreciate that. I learned a few years ago a song I wrote for somebody else. They had just been through a really, really hard thing, and they were really honest with me about it. It was their first time meeting me, and we ended up writing a song about it. And I was 23, and we ended up winning a Grammy for it. And I only say that to say it left this huge impression on me that it matters to sacrifice your pride and your privacy as an artist.
Yeah.
And say what others can't or won't. And if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down doing that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It just, from the get-go, and left this impression on me that being brave was the way to be when it came to making music. And so I really appreciate you saying that, because, you know, I don't want to waste my life. Like, I don't want to waste the things that happen to me and the way my mind processes them. And
yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations with that. I mean, I'm glad that you changed. I'm glad you changed your contract, because I can't imagine just being a songwriter.
Thank you. I'm glad I changed my contract too, and I'm in it for the long haul. I'm excited.
You better be in it for the long haul.
I am. My last project, I remember I was 2 feet in, kind of, but I do remember thinking, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll just go back to writing. And it just hit me this year. I was like, don't live your life like that. Like, don't be afraid to say goodbye to your old life of just writing songs for other people. So I'm trying to live out my music through and through, and dive in head first here and just enjoy the ride, no matter what it looks like. I'm going to choose to be grateful for it and love it. And I can't wait for the world to open back up and to get on the road and meet all the people who are going to hear this music and be affected by it. And I'm so excited.
Most definitely. Well,
and you're a good interviewer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I genuinely love, this is the closest I get to being an artist. So
I love it.
It really helps a lot. I do want to ask one question.
Sure.
Away from your EP, just because this has been one of the things that I love to do is that, like, I love being the first for a lot of artists that, are now big, so I was blessed with the opportunity, and I'll have it here with these guys right here before Billboard, before anybody else.
No way.
So I want to talk to you about, how different it was writing for, a regular artist compared to like a band like BTS.
Yes. Man, my BTS experience was so interesting. I'll never forget it. I'm a Nashville girl, so usually I go into a room with an artist and I hear their story and we get emotional and we tell a story together and we talk. And it was a few years ago, and a girl who at the time was an intern at the publishing company that I was at, she said, she sent my sister an email and said, this company reached out and asked if Emily wanted to write some top lines on some tracks for BTS. And I was like, I was a new BTS fan. Yeah. I had just discovered their music, and I kept watching their DNA video and their dance moves. I was like dying of it. And so, I was super down. I went into the studio, I put some melodies down, I sent it back, and it was really unemotional and really just fun. It was a moment for me to kind of let loose and just sing stuff. And I put it all together. I put some kind of filler words in there, and I sent it back to the group, and I never heard back. And I was like, okay. And I didn't necessarily sit around at my computer waiting for an answer back, but a few months had passed, and I realized I wonder whatever happened with that track I sent back. And I got a text one time. I was in New York beginning of last year, and I got a text that said, hey, congrats on the BTS single. And I was like, huh? I don't have the BTS single. They're like, yeah, you do. Your name's on it. I'm looking at the lyric sheet. Your name's on it. And I'm like, there's no chance. There's no chance. I've not heard anything about this. I called my publisher. He's like, yeah, I don't know anything about that either. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And I go about my week, and Thursday night at 11, an hour before music comes out, I got tagged in this video on Instagram, and it was BTS featuring Halsey, Boy with Love, out in 1 hour or something. And I'm like, wait, what? Why am I being tagged? Halsey's on it? It's called Boy with Love? I didn't even know it was called. And honestly, I didn't post about it because I was like, well, I don't want to be mooching off this song if a bunch of other people finish the song and they only use one line of it. My ego was going well, I'm not gonna act like I wrote this song, And so I waited till it came out, and my publisher called me and said, it's what you sent them. And so I went and I listened, and the whole first 55 seconds of the song is what I sent them.
That's amazing.
So it was crazy, but I've never met any of the other writers on the song. We talk on Instagram sometimes, and I can't wait to meet them. But I've never met. It's just insane that these people from all over the world were on this song together who had never even met each other. And that's the beauty of music in 2020. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was definitely a different experience. And I don't know, I lucked into that one, man. I was really, really ecstatic that that happened. I was like, what were the chances of that? So
that's amazing. Well, congratulations with that.
Fun.
Also,
thank you. I
feel like you have
it.
I feel like you have so much, going on, but at the same time, so much more that's going to be coming at, coming your way. So
thank you
2020, 2021 is going to keep you busy for sure.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm going all in. Watch out, world. Here I come.
Definitely.